When people think of Nevada, visions of neon lights, slot machines, and endless desert skies usually come to mind. But behind the glitz and glow, not every corner of the Silver State is a jackpot when it comes to real estate. In fact, in some cities, buying a home feels less like investing in your future and more like putting all your chips on a roulette wheel, only to watch it land on the wrong number. Between crime rates that make you want to double lock the doors, job markets moving slower than Vegas traffic on a Friday night, and housing prices that wobble like a house of cards, these spots aren't exactly buyer-friendly. Sure, Nevada has its golden opportunities, but these 10 cities prove that sometimes the house really does win. So, before you roll the dice on that 30-year mortgage, pour yourself a coffee or a cocktail, and let's take a tour of the top 10 worst cities to buy a home in Nevada in the months and year to come. Number 10. Fernley. Population, approximately 22,000. Median home price, $420,000. Crime rate, moderate. Welcome to Fernley, where the tumbleweeds outnumber the entertainment options. Located about 30 miles east of Reno, Fernley is what happens when a city grows faster than its infrastructure can handle. The town exploded in population over the past 2 decades as people sought affordable housing alternatives to Reno. And boy, did they get what they paid for. The problem? Fernley is essentially a bedroom community with a severe identity crisis. Most residents commute to Reno or Sparks for work, which means you're paying for gas and putting miles on your car daily just to earn a living. The local job market is thinner than a gas station coffee, and economic opportunities are about as scarce as shade in the Nevada desert. The housing market here is inflated beyond reason, considering what you actually get. You're paying near Reno prices for the privilege of living in a town where the biggest excitement is a new chain restaurant opening. Schools are overcrowded, amenities are limited, and you'll quickly discover why affordable housing isn't always the bargain it seems. But wait, how much worse could it possibly get from here? Number 9. Fallon. Population, approximately 9,500. Median home price, $340,000. Crime rate, above average. Fallon calls itself the oasis of Nevada, which is really just marketing speak for we have water in the middle of nowhere. Home to Naval Air Station Fallon, this small city in Churchill County has a military presence that props up much of its economy. And that's both a blessing and a curse. If you're not in the military or working directly with the base, good luck finding decent employment. The civilian job market is about as exciting as watching paint dry in slow motion. The town's economy is heavily dependent on agriculture and the military, leaving everyone else scrambling for service industry jobs that pay just enough to keep you perpetually broke. Crime rates in Fallon are surprisingly high for such a small community. Property crime is a particular issue, with theft rates that'll make you question if your neighbors are just really into borrowing things permanently. The isolation doesn't help either. You're about an hour from anything resembling urban amenities, which means every Target run becomes a day trip. Housing prices have crept up despite the city's obvious limitations. You're essentially paying for the privilege of living in geographic purgatory, where it's too far from Reno to enjoy city life, but too developed to claim that peaceful rural charm. It's the worst of both worlds, packaged with a bow. Do you think these cities are bad? Can they get even more questionable? Wait. Number 8. Mesquite. Population, approximately 20,000. Median home price, $385,000. Crime rate, moderate to high. Mesquite, where retirees come to golf and everyone else comes to wonder what they're doing with their lives. Perched on the Nevada-Arizona border, Mesquite is basically Las Vegas's less successful cousin who constantly talks about their glory days that never actually happened. The economy here limps along on a combination of small casinos, golf tourism, and retail jobs that pay about as much as a good sneeze. If you're under 65 and not working in hospitality or retail, Mesquite's job market will look at you like you've asked it to solve advanced calculus. Major employers are scarce, and career growth opportunities are practically non-existent unless your definition of climbing the corporate ladder involves managing a slightly larger casino shift. The housing market is bizarre. Prices remain stubbornly high despite limited demand and a shrinking population of young families. You're paying premium prices for a city that functions primarily as a retirement community with an identity crisis. Schools are struggling with underfunding, and if you have kids, prepare for a limited range of activities that don't involve bingo or early bird specials. The summer heat is apocalyptic. We're talking temperatures that make Satan himself say, "Yeah, that's a bit much." And with climate change doing its thing, those temperatures are only getting more extreme. Buying property in Mesquite is like investing in a slow-motion disaster film where you're the star. And if you think those were bad, we're just getting warmed up. Number 7. West Wendover. Population, approximately 4,500. Median home price, $295,000. Crime rate, high. West Wendover is what happens when a city's entire economy depends on people from another state coming to do things they probably regret the next morning. Sitting literally on the Nevada-Utah border, this tiny gambling outpost exists solely because Utah doesn't allow casino gambling, and someone realized there was money to be made from that fact. The problem is that an economy built entirely on casinos and cheap hotel rooms is about as stable as a house of cards in a windstorm. When times are tough and people tighten their belts, West Wendover feels it immediately and brutally. Employment options are limited to casino work, hospitality, or gas stations, and none of these options scream, "Build your future here." Crime is a significant issue for such a small town. With crime rates higher than many cities 10 times its size, West Wendover has a gritty edge that the tourist board definitely doesn't mention in their brochures. The transient nature of the casino economy attracts a mix of people, and not all of them have your property values in mind. Infrastructure is minimal, schools are basic at best, and cultural amenities are whatever's playing on the casino floor, TVS. You're also geographically isolated. The nearest actual city, Salt Lake City, is over 100 miles away. Buying a home here is like voluntarily putting yourself in economic and social exile, except with more slot machines. Brace yourself as we move forward. The next set makes these cities look charming. Number 6. Yerington. Population, approximately 3,200. Median home price, $285,000. Crime rate, high. Yerington is a small rural town in Lyon County that's been economically circling the drain for years. Once sustained by mining and agriculture, the town has struggled to find its footing in the modern economy, and it shows in every weathered storefront and vacant lot. The job market is practically non-existent unless you're into ranching or you're willing to commute significant distances for employment. Major employers left years ago, and nothing has filled that vacuum. The result is a town with high unemployment, low wages, and residents who are increasingly desperate or departing. Crime rates are shockingly high for such a small community. Property crime and drug-related offenses have become serious problems, creating a sense of unease that's hard to shake. When your town's population is barely over 3,000 people and crime is still a major concern, you know something has gone seriously wrong. The housing market is technically affordable compared to larger Nevada cities, but that's because nobody really wants to live there. Buying a home in Yerington is like buying stock in a company that filed for bankruptcy. Sure, it's cheap, but there's a reason for that. Property values are stagnant at best, declining at worst, and your investment will likely be worth less in a decade than it is today. Plus, you're isolated from everything. Reno is 60 miles away, and Carson City is 50 miles away. You're not enjoying peaceful rural living. You're just far from everything useful. Hold tight. We're entering truly problematic territory now. Number 5. Ely. Population, approximately 4,000. Median home price $255,000. Crime rate very high. Deep in the heart of Nevada's rural isolation sits Ely, a former copper mining town that never quite figured out what to do after the mines closed. The town clings to its mining heritage like a life raft, but that raft has been slowly deflating for decades. Employment is scarce and largely seasonal, revolving around the limited tourism that comes to see the historic railway or use Ely as a base for outdoor recreation. If you're not in tourism or working for the government, good luck finding anything resembling a career. The economic depression is palpable, and it affects everything from the quality of schools to the maintenance of infrastructure. Crime is a major problem in Ely. For a town of only 4,000 people, the crime rate is jaw-droppingly high. Drug-related crimes, property theft, and assault rates are well above both state and national averages. The combination of economic desperation and geographic isolation has created a perfect storm of social problems. The isolation itself is almost punishing. Ely is 317 miles from Las Vegas and 241 miles from Reno. If you need specialized medical care, better shopping options, or basically anything beyond the absolute basics, you're looking at a multi-hour drive. Living in Ely isn't just buying a home, it's signing up for geographic exile. The housing market reflects this reality. Prices are low because demand is essentially non-existent. Anyone with means and ambition has already left. What you're buying isn't an investment. It's an anchor that will keep you tied to a town with a dim future. You might be wondering, just how questionable do these cities get as we go down the list? Number 4. Carlin. Population approximately 2,200. Median home price $240,000. Crime rate very high. Carlin is a tiny town along Interstate 80 that most people blow past on their way to somewhere better. And honestly, those people are making the smart choice. Once a thriving railroad town, Carlin has been steadily declining for decades, and the current state of affairs is pretty grim. The economy barely exists. A few mining-related jobs and truck stops constitute the bulk of employment options. For everyone else, opportunities are virtually non-existent. The median household income is far below both state and national averages, and poverty rates are correspondingly high. Crime is disturbingly high for such a small population. With barely 2,200 residents, Carlin manages to have a violent crime rate that would embarrass much larger cities. Drug problems, property theft, and assault are ongoing issues that overwhelm the limited law enforcement resources available. The town's infrastructure is aging and underfunded. Schools are struggling. Community resources are minimal, and the general sense of decline is inescapable. Drive through Carlin and you'll see boarded-up buildings, unmaintained properties, and an overall atmosphere of economic defeat. Buying a home here would be a mistake unless you have a very specific reason for needing to live in this exact location. There's no economic future here, property values won't appreciate, and you'll be stuck in a town that offers little quality of life. The affordability is a trap. Cheap housing in a dying town is still too expensive. The worst is yet to come. These final 3 cities are absolute disasters. Number 3. Reno. Population approximately 265,000. Median home price $540,000. Crime rate very high. Wait, what? Reno? On a worst cities list? Hear me out. Yes, Reno is Nevada's 3rd largest city, and yes, it's been hyped as the next big thing for years. But beneath the slick marketing and tech company relocations, Reno has some serious problems that make it a questionable place to buy a home. The crime situation is alarming. Reno has one of the highest crime rates in Nevada, with property crime rates that are even worse. Car thefts, burglaries, and robberies are so common that locals treat them as inevitable rather than shocking. Even nice neighborhoods aren't immune to the city's crime epidemic. The housing market is absolutely bonkers. Home prices have skyrocketed by over 60% since 2019, driven by California transplants fleeing the Bay Area. The current median home price, $540,000, is $500,000 for a mediocre house in a city with serious crime problems, a homelessness crisis, and infrastructure struggling to keep up with rapid growth. Downtown Reno's homelessness situation is tragic and seemingly unsolvable. What was once a quirky downtown area is now plagued by tent encampments and visible drug use. Meanwhile, infrastructure is buckling under population pressure. Schools are overcrowded, traffic is nightmarish, and the sprawling suburbs lack character or community. The cost of living has exploded faster than wages, pushing out long-time residents and making life unaffordable for working-class families. If you're buying at today's inflated prices, you're likely catching the market near its peak, always a risky proposition. Add in air quality problems from wildfires and water scarcity concerns, and Reno's investment potential starts looking more like a gamble. If you thought Reno was bad, these final two will shock you. Number 2. North Las Vegas. Population, approximately 280,000. Median home price, $420,000. Crime rate, extremely high. If Las Vegas is the glitzy older sibling who makes questionable life choices, North Las Vegas is the troubled younger sibling who makes terrible life choices. Despite being Nevada's 4th largest city, North Las Vegas has earned its reputation as one of the most dangerous and economically depressed cities in the entire state. The crime statistics are genuinely alarming. North Las Vegas consistently ranks as one of the most dangerous cities in the entire United States, not just Nevada. Crime rates are through the roof, with robbery, aggravated assault, and property crimes occurring at rates that would make even hardened urban dwellers nervous. Gang activity is a persistent problem, and certain neighborhoods are outright dangerous at all hours. The city has struggled with economic development for decades. Despite being adjacent to Las Vegas, North Las Vegas has failed to attract major employers or upscale development. Instead, it's become a repository for industrial warehouses, budget housing, and people who can't afford to live in better areas. Schools in North Las Vegas are among the worst in Nevada. Test scores are abysmal, graduation rates are low, and resources are scarce. The city government has been plagued by financial problems and mismanagement for years, affecting everything from public services to infrastructure maintenance. The outlook isn't improving for the coming year. You're paying increasingly inflated prices for a city that offers diminishing returns on your investment. And now, the absolute worst city to buy a home in Nevada. Number 1. Winnemucca. Winnemucca has the highest crime rate in the entire state of Nevada. We're talking 644 violent crimes per 100,000 people, a rate that's absolutely staggering for a town of fewer than 8,000 residents. For a small, rural Nevada town, this level of crime is both shocking and inexcusable. Property crime is equally terrible, with theft and burglary so rampant that the atmosphere of distrust permeates the entire community. The economy is a disaster. Winnemucca depends heavily on mining and casinos serving I-80 travelers. When mining is down or gas prices are high, the entire town suffers through brutal boom and bust cycles. Employment options are extremely limited. Unless you work in mining, casinos, or service industries supporting them, there's virtually nothing here. Career growth is non-existent, and economic mobility is a fantasy. The isolation is punishing. Winnemucca is 164 miles from Reno, meaning you're looking at a 3-hour round trip for specialized medical care, decent shopping, or basically anything beyond bare minimum services. Infrastructure and services are inadequate. Schools are underfunded. Healthcare is limited to a small rural hospital, and cultural activities are non-existent. The housing market is bizarrely overpriced at $320,000 median. You're paying far too much for the privilege of living in Nevada's most crime-ridden, isolated, economically stagnant city. Property values aren't appreciating and won't in the future. So who's going to move here? The long-term outlook is bleak, with no economic diversification plan and a town slowly dying. Avoid Winnemucca at all costs unless you have an extremely specific and unavoidable reason to be there. Look, we're not here to crush anyone's dreams of home ownership. We get it. Buying a home is supposed to be a milestone, an investment, a step toward building wealth and stability. But here's the reality check. Not every home is a good investment, and not every city deserves your hard-earned money. The 10 cities we've examined aren't just slightly less desirable or overlooked gems waiting to be discovered. They're genuinely problematic places with serious, fundamental issues that aren't going away anytime soon. High crime, economic stagnation, isolation, and inflated housing prices aren't problems that fix themselves. They're warning signs telling you to look elsewhere. With interest rates still elevated and economic uncertainty lingering, you need to be especially strategic about where you buy. Overpaying for a home in a declining city isn't just unwise, it's potentially financially devastating. You could end up underwater on your mortgage, unable to sell, stuck in a place you hate, watching your investment depreciate while you're still making payments. Nevada has plenty of genuinely good places to live and buy property. Your dream home is out there, but it's definitely not in Winnemucca, North Las Vegas, or any of the other cities we've covered today. Trust us on this one. So, are you ready to find your actual dream home? Well, don't let this list discourage you from buying property in Nevada. Let it educate you on what to avoid. The Silver State has incredible opportunities for smart home buyers who do their research and choose wisely. Use this list as a starting point for what not to do. Then investigate cities that don't have these red flags. Never buy property sight unseen. Visit at different times of day. Talk to neighbors and trust your instincts. Sites like Neighborhood Scout and Crime Grade offer detailed crime data. Use them religiously. Besides, analyze the local economy. Look for cities with diverse employers, growing populations, and solid economic fundamentals. Work with local experts. A knowledgeable real estate agent who specializes in Nevada can help you avoid these pitfalls and find genuinely good opportunities. The housing market waits for no one, but neither should you rush into a terrible decision. Share this video with anyone you know considering a move to Nevada, and make sure they're not accidentally buying into a nightmare scenario. So what's your take? Have you lived in any of these cities? Do you disagree with our rankings? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. Your first-hand experience could help someone else make a better decision.